Let's be real. Learning a language can seem like climbing Mount Everest in your pajamas. You see all these fluent speakers effortlessly chatting away, and you wonder, how in the world did they do that?
I know, right? It's easy to get discouraged. You try memorizing a list of words, and the next day, poof, gone. You try speaking and you stumble over every other word. It's frustrating.
But guess what? It doesn't have to be that way. Learning a language is achievable, even if you think you're not good at languages. We're here to share some game-changing strategies that will make your language learning journey way smoother and, dare I say, even fun.
Exactly. We're not going to promise you fluency in a week. That's just not realistic. But we will give you a roadmap to success, a set of tools and techniques that will help you learn efficiently and effectively. So, are you ready to ditch the overwhelm and start making real progress?
Let's do it. Hey everyone, Ryan here.
And I'm Jessica. Welcome to Effortless Linguistic Journey, the show where we break down the secrets to mastering a new language, no matter how intimidated you might feel right now.
First up, and this is crucial, is your
Mindset. Think of your brain like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. If you believe you can learn a language, you're already halfway there. That's what we call a growth mindset.
think of it like this. Imagine you're learning to ride a bike. You're going to fall, you're going to scrape your knees, but you keep getting back on. Eventually, you're cruising down the street like a pro. Learning a language is the same way. Mistakes are part of the process.
And that's where a fixed mindset trips you up. A fixed mindset is like thinking, I'm just not good at languages. I'll never get it. That kind of thinking makes challenges feel threatening and mistakes feel like failures. It's a recipe for discouragement.
So, how do you cultivate a growth mindset? It's all about changing your inner dialogue. Instead of saying, I'm terrible at this, try saying, this is challenging, but I can improve with practice. Celebrate small wins. Did you finally understand a tricky grammar rule? Awesome. Acknowledge your progress.
Next up, prioritization. Don't try to learn everything at once. That's like trying to drink from a fire hose. Focus on the most frequent and useful elements of the language. What are the words you're most likely to use in everyday conversations? What are the basic grammar rules that form the foundation of the language?
Think about it. You don't need to know every single word in the dictionary to have a conversation. Start with the essentials: greetings, numbers, basic verbs, and common phrases. Use frequency lists to identify the most common words in the language. These lists are readily available online.
And tailor your learning to your specific goals. Are you learning Spanish to travel? Then focus on vocabulary related to travel, food, and asking for directions. Are you learning French for work? Then prioritize vocabulary related to your industry.
Vocabulary. Now, let's talk about some efficient learning techniques. These are the strategies that will help you learn smarter, not harder. One of our favorites is the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule.
This principle states that 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. In language learning, this means that if you focus on the 20% most frequent words, you'll understand about 80% of what you hear and read. That's huge.
So, how do you find those top 20% of words? Again, frequency lists are your friend. Focus on mastering those high-frequency words before you move on to more obscure vocabulary.
Another great technique is chunking. This means breaking down large amounts of information into smaller, more manageable chunks. Instead of trying to memorize an entire verb conjugation at once, learn one tense at a time. Practice using that tense in different contexts before moving on to the next.
Learning styles. Personalized learning. Finding your learning sweet spot. Everyone learns differently. Some people are visual learners, meaning they learn best by seeing things. Others are auditory learners, meaning they learn best by hearing things. And some are kinesthetic learners, meaning they learn best by doing things.
Experiment with different learning methods and see what works best for you. Do you like flashcards? Do you prefer listening to podcasts? Do you learn best by role-playing conversations with a language partner? Find what works for you and stick with it.
Shadowing for fluency. Shadowing is another fantastic technique for improving pronunciation and fluency. It involves listening to a native speaker and trying to mimic their speech. It's like a workout for your mouth and your ears.
Start with short segments of audio and gradually increase the length as you get more comfortable. Focus on the rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation of the speaker.
Practice. Now, let's talk about practice. This is where the rubber meets the road. You can study all the grammar rules and vocabulary lists you want, but if you don't use the language, you're not going to make much progress.
And the most important thing about practice is to not be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes are a natural part of the learning process. Everyone makes them. The key is to learn from your mistakes and keep practicing.
Don't be afraid to speak, even if you're not sure you're saying things correctly. The more you speak, the more confident you'll become. Find a language partner to practice with, or join a language exchange group.
And try to immerse yourself in the language as much as possible. This means exposing yourself to authentic materials, such as movies, music, books, and podcasts in the language you're learning. This will help you learn the language as it's used in real-world situations.
Start with materials that are at your level and gradually work your way up to more challenging content. Watch a movie with subtitles, then try watching it without subtitles. Listen to music and try to understand the lyrics.
And don't be afraid to seek guidance. If you're struggling with something, don't be afraid to ask for help. Talk to your teacher, a language partner, or an online tutor. There are tons of resources available to help you.
Time management. Pomodoro Power-Up. Finally, let's talk about time management. Learning a language takes time and effort. It's not something that happens overnight. The key is to be consistent and to make time for practice every day, even if it's just for a few minutes.
Using timers can help structure your study sessions. The Pomodoro technique is a great way to stay focused and productive. This involves studying for 25 minutes followed by a short break. After 4 Pomodoros, take a longer break.
Setting specific goals for each study session can also be helpful. Instead of just saying, "I'm going to study Spanish today," say, "I'm going to learn 5 new verbs and practice using them in sentences." This will help you stay focused and motivated.
So, to recap, mindset is key. Believe in yourself and your ability to learn. Prioritize the most important content. Use efficient learning techniques. Practice, practice, practice. And manage your time effectively.
And most importantly, have fun. Learning a language should be an enjoyable experience. If you're not having fun, you're less likely to stick with it.
So, find ways to make learning fun. Watch movies, listen to music, play games, and connect with other language learners. The more you enjoy the process, the more successful you'll be.
That's all for today's episode of Effortless Linguistic Journey. We hope you found these tips helpful.
Happy learning, everyone.